Well, hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are going to be discussing library resources and services for the Division of Arts and Social Sciences. My name is Keela Villa. I am the Research Services Librarian for this particular division. And this webinar is part of a series where we are walking through library resources and services. Now, last month, our library director, Dr. Tryon, he just walked through our general library resources and services. Today, I'm going through the Division of Arts and Social Sciences, and then throughout the rest of the semester, we'll be talking about what we offer to the other divisions as well. So make sure you join in for those if they are relevant to you. This webinar is being recorded so that it can be uploaded to our YouTube channel so that you can watch it at any time. So again, welcome to today's session. My name is Keela Villa, and let's go ahead and jump in. Okay. So first thing, let's look at our agenda. We are going to first talk about, does this webinar and these subjects apply to me? Then we're going to look at what the library offers for this division, my contact information, our next webinar, and then we'll have a time for Q&A. Okay. So let's first look at, does this division apply to me? So this is perhaps the largest division at SMWC, and this division covers two unique departments. The first is the Department of Arts, Letters, and Music, and the second is the Department of Social and Behavioral Science. So let's take a look at what subjects those cover. So the first is the Department of Arts, Letters, and Music. So we are going to be looking at majors and minors and classes within these subjects like art, art therapy, English, French, graphic design, literature, media art, music therapy, Spanish, theater, and writing. So there's a lot of things covered within that department. And then let's take a look at the Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences. So that's going to cover things like counseling, criminology, history, human services, legal studies, political science, psychology, sociology, theology, and women's studies. So you'll see between these two departments, there's a ton of classes, subjects, majors, and minors that apply to this particular division. So we'll be covering things that will help you in any of those. So whether you are majoring in one of those subjects, minoring in one of those subjects, maybe you're just taking a general education class for your Woods Corps, or maybe you are taking an elective class that you're interested in, or potentially you're just doing general research in these subjects. One thing I didn't include is perhaps you are teaching a class in one of these subjects. So whatever that may be, this webinar is for you. Okay. So moving on, what are the library resources and services for this division? Now, one thing I want to point out is that this series is designed to show you what we offer. Now, we offer the same things to everyone. However, this particular webinar is going to show you how you can tailor these resources to this particular division, how to make them relevant to your subject area. So the first thing that we're going to look at is databases. And so if you aren't familiar with databases, they are pretty much an organized collection of data. I like to think of our library database as kind of like an academic Google. It's a place where you can look to find articles, ebooks, video, theses, all kinds of resources that you would need for your research. Now, one thing that people don't know is that we have subject-specific databases. So I want to start over here in the library's website. If you don't know how to get there, it would just be under the main website, come over here to Offices Resources, and then come to Rooney Library. Okay, so databases are going to be here in this first block. And so you'll see that we have 120 databases. And you might think, wow, this is really overwhelming. And perhaps in the past, you have just used the first one on the list. That's often what we tend to do whenever we go to Google. We just look at the first result and that's it. But in this case, sometimes that can be really good. You'll see our top result is Academic Search Ultimate. It is featured, and you'll see that it's actually the most frequently used database. So this is really good for general research. But like I said, for this webinar, we're really moving into the subject-specific research. So how can I do that? Academic Search Ultimate, you can look up pretty much any subject, But we have subject-specific databases that will focus on one or two subjects and they'll really go deep within that. So let's say I want to do some research for a particular topic. I'll come up here to where I see subjects. And so you'll see the list of the different subjects that we offer here at the college or just within the databases themselves. So for example, let's say I'm doing some theology research. Maybe I'm minoring in theology, for example. I'll come over here, click search, and you'll see now I'm just looking at theology databases. So I went from 120 to 25. Now, the nice thing about this, whenever you go and look for a particular subject, you're going to see something called the best bets. And these are ones that we as librarians say, hey, these are the best places for you to go for that subject-specific research. And so this is going to be a really helpful feature for you. Now, I do want to point out, as we're looking here at these best bets, you'll see that we have some different icons here. And so whenever you hover over them, you will see what they mean. And if you're looking for the guide for that information, you're going to have an icon legend down here. And so these little icons will tell you things like it requires your credentials or it's open access. Maybe it's recommended by a librarian or it has audiobooks available. There's all kinds of different ways that you can use these icons to know how to pick the database that you need. Now, let's say that you want to do research within two particular subjects and kind of see how they interact with each other. So let me clear this. Let's say that I want to do some research within the field of counseling. And let's do psychology since they are fairly similar. Okay, so now you're going to see here, I have both of them that I've searched for. And what you'll see is this different feature where it says best bet, and this is going to include counseling and psychology. It says this is a best bet for both, versus this one down here is just a best bet for psychology. This one is a best bet for both. And so what you could do is use that information and say, okay, this database right here sounds really great. I'm going to be able to find really good articles for both of these subjects and how they interact with each other. Okay. So now let's look at a subject that is pretty popular. I get a lot of questions about it. So let's look at art therapy. So same thing, we have our best bets, but let's say that you were looking for just some reference material, some introductory materials to art therapy, dictionaries, encyclopedias, things like that. You could come over here to types, and then you could choose the type of information that you're looking for within the database. For us, I'm going to try reference, and you'll see now I've got the best bet for art therapy reference databases. So this is going to be just super helpful for you as you dive into your research. I encourage you, you can start with Academic Search Ultimate, but then dive into those subject-specific databases. Now, something else I want to mention is whenever you look up a subject, if you continue to scroll down before the icons, you're going to see the subject specialist, which for this subject is me. You'll see my contact information here, and then you will see the different guides by subject, which we're going to look at here in just a moment. Okay, so that's how we're going to focus on subject-specific databases. The next thing we're going to look at is research guides. So research guides are lists and just general guidance for specific subjects. So you'll see here I have a direct link, or to get to that, come to the Rooney Library page, and then it's just right next to databases. It's going to be research guides. Okay, so you'll see here that we have 30 guides so far, and these are going to be mainly related to the different majors and minors that we have available on campus. So let's start with maybe a simple one that doesn't have a lot of views. Let's try sociology. So within the Sociology Research Guide, you're going to see just a quick introduction to the purpose of the guide. You'll see a list of databases. Often this will align with that subject database search that you just saw. You'll see a recommended ebook or two. You'll see a link for how to search for print books related to the subject, as well as ebook databases. Now, course guides we're going to get into next, but if there are any relevant course guides for that subject, you'll see a list of those, as well as citation help that aligns with the particular type of style that you're using, whether APA or an MLA, and then library help, who would be the contact for that particular subject. Okay, so let's take a look at some others. So some of these have career guides, like the human services one. And so it's pretty much the same as the others, but it has a page about how to become a social worker. And so you'll find that some of these have information for licensing if you have to get a license to do that job. Sometimes it will have links of accredited school programs, or it'll have a link to the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So you'll be able to take a look at that. So if you're majoring in a particular field, see if we've got information about a career guide within that. Now, one little tip, if I want to go back to research guides, I can use my breadcrumbs up here to click on research guides. And let me show you one more for our graduate students. So music therapy is also very popular. The graduate level guides have a few more things. So they also have things like finding testing instruments. They have information on how to find theses, and they also have information about quantitative and qualitative research to help you be able to write your thesis. All right, so that's our research guides. Now, the next thing is going to be a little bit more specific, which is going to be our course guides. So subject guides or research guides are, like I said, kind of by major and minor, versus course guides are particular research guidance for a specific class. So this would be your professor reaches out to a librarian and they say, hey, my class, we have different assignments that involve the library. And so the librarian will work with that professor and make that. So not every single class will have one, but I'll show you how to get there. Okay, so a few different ways that we can get there. First, we don't have a direct link on our library website right now, but you can come over here to research guides. Use those breadcrumbs, like I mentioned earlier, and click on LibGuides. Here you're going to be able to see all the guides that we offer, but we want to look for course guides. So come over here to the group, or you can go to type and you'll see that it's got all the course guides listed within both of those. There's also a direct link, which I have listed here, that you could just type in your search bar and it will take you right there. But let's take a look at a class that pretty much everybody takes, which would be this one right here. So you'll see some information about the class, like the course description. You'll see the different assignments that involve library research. And you'll be able to see information about the databases that you might need, books and ebooks, web resources. You'll also have tutorials on how to complete a search or how to evaluate your resources. But let me look at one that is particular to this division. Let me look at English composition and research writing. I'm sure we've all taken that or in the process. So same thing, you're going to see we've got the list of assignments for this particular class. Persuasive research paper is a big one, and then annotated bibliography. And so throughout this guide, you can use these tutorials, this information, to help you complete those assignments. So one more I want to point out is, let me see, is this one right here for Global Women Leading Change. There are a few where it's not a particular assignment that this is created for. It's just created because your professor has a lot of resources that they want to be right at your fingertips. And so this course guide, for example, this is great because you'll see things like that the professor has recommended. So she's recommended all of these different newspapers or these different videos. She's recommended these books. And so this is just going to be really helpful as well, just to see what does my professor want me to use. And so again, with the Woods Core or just the general education within this division, you can contact me. You'll see my information there when you have questions about the course guides or research guides. Okay, so coming up next is our citation and our reference guides. So you'll see right here, I've got some direct links that you can save. But if you want to just get them straight from the website, come here, scroll a little bit more. So here we have our citation guides. And so you can tell just based on the views alone, most of the classes here, most of the majors, the subjects are going to be using APA style. So we do offer that, and we also have an MLA guide. So these guides are very helpful. And as you saw within those research guides and the course guides, it's going to be specific to the style guide that you use for that class. So we won't ever link it to the wrong one. It's going to be linked to the correct one. And these were created in collaboration with the Writing Center. But you're just going to see some information about how do I format this document? How do I do in-text citations? How do I do references? And this is something I want to point out. This is a new guide that I just created. This is called our Zotero guide. And Zotero is really cool. It's a free citation tool that helps you collect, organize, cite, and share your research sources. So this guide will help you if you're the person who you're doing research for a lot of different classes or projects and you just can't stay organized. Zotero would be perfect for you because it's going to help you keep all of your references in one place. And you can create different folders within there. So let's say I'm majoring in psychology and maybe I'm minoring in writing, for example. I could create different folders in there and I keep each of the sources within those folders. So this could be really helpful, or you could even do it by class, as you'll be taking a lot of classes in college. But this is just going to walk you through all the different steps to create your account, to install everything, because it can be a little overwhelming at first, but I have screenshots to walk you through the process, and I am the contact for this. I think my info's down here. So you can contact me if you need any assistance with this. Okay, let's see what's up next. Wood Scholars. So this is going to be especially helpful for the graduate students because Wood Scholars is where all the theses or dissertations go. Okay, so how do I get there? Rooney Library again, and you'll see here, Wood Scholars. It usually will take just a minute to verify that you are a human, and then it will let you in. Okay, so the thing that I recommend for this division is to come down here and look at our featured collections. So you'll see here that it's based on department. Now, as of this webinar, these two departments, arts and letters, music and theater, have been combined. However, you could still look at these and you can see I've got 263 theses or dissertations or projects, whatever it might be, that have been published here by old students. And you can look at these. And this can be really helpful for you as you're writing all of your papers because you'll be able to see how other students are writing. You can also look at the references. And as you'll see here, it is embedded right into there. And see if I can get all the way down to the references. So graduate students, feel free to use this as a tool to help you. Look at what others are citing, and those might be really great sources in the field. Now, you might be wondering, how do I find the social and behavioral sciences collection? So let me go back. You could click on View All Collections. You'll have to scroll a little bit, and then you'll see the Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences. These are the master's theses as well. We've got 224. You can search within the collection. So if you wanted to search up counseling or whatever search term you're looking for, you could do that here. And same thing, you could just browse if you wanted to do that as well. But this is a super helpful tool, especially for that graduate level research. All right, so next up is our subject-specific FAQs. So we have a lot of FAQs that are related to the art therapy program since it's very popular, and we have a lot of questions related to that. So how do I get there? Rooney Library. And just to say, if you don't have our website bookmarked, I highly recommend it just because you can see how often I have to click on it today. It's just a really great resource to have at your fingertips. Okay, so here's our FAQ. And you'll see just from here, I've got a question about how do I find the Wiley Handbook of Art Therapy? How do I access the DSM or the Arts and Psychotherapy Journal? So you can look there directly, or you could, for example, type in art therapy and you could see the questions that are related directly to that. So we just have 19 right now, but if you have questions, ask us. If we keep getting the same question over and over again, we will add it to the FAQ. And just an example of what one of those looks like, it will just have the answer there. It will often have a link and more information about how to contact us. You can even say, yes, I like the answer, or no, I don't, but hopefully you will like the answer. Okay, so rounding up on the final thing that we offer, which is research appointments. So we offer these in person or online. So I've got the direct link here, or you can just go to Rooney Library and scroll way down to make a research appointment. Now you'll have to select the location. So as of now, our library director is the only person who's on campus. The other librarians are remote librarians. And so if you want in-person help, choose that and you will meet with our library director. But if you don't mind meeting over Zoom or Microsoft Teams, click online. And you'll see my name right here, and you can actually verify right here that I am the division. I work with the Division of Arts and Social Sciences. So I would be the best contact if you are looking for help related to these classes. Of course, anybody would be happy to help you, but this is the division that I'm assigned to, and so I might be the best contact for that. Okay, so let's see what else we've got. So here is my contact information. Again, my name is Keela Villa. I am the Research Services Librarian for the Division of Arts and Social Sciences. You just saw how to make an appointment with me, and right here is my email address. And coming up next, we will be looking at library resources and services for the Division of Nursing, Sciences, and Education. And so that will be led by Anna Scatoni, and she is amazing. She's going to walk you through kind of a similar thing like I did today, but tailor it to that division. In December, it's going to be for the Division of Business and Leadership. So I hope that you will join us for one or both. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up to see if there's any questions, and I'm happy to answer. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and I hope you have a blessed day and contact me if you need anything.